With some of the most passionate fans I've ever seen, Doom is one of those games that almost doesn't need an introduction. Even if you've never played it, you've probably heard about it.
This guy's had a case of the Mondays.
What I expected was a chaotic shooter. What I didn't expect was to come away understanding why people are still so passionate about this series nearly 3 decades later. This is Backlog and Beyond. Coming off of games like Inscription, jumping into Doom was a bit of a shock to the system. There wasn't some long introduction explaining the world or easing you into the story. You throw on a helmet, grab a gun, and the game basically says good luck. Honestly, it was exactly what I expected. The opening couple of hours were mostly spent learning the ropes. I even found myself using the pistol, way longer than I probably should have because those headshots were weirdly satisfying. Then, ultra-violence reminded me I couldn't just mindlessly sprint through every encounter. A few arena fights later, I actually had to sit up in my chair and think, alright, time to lock in.
Hit him with the armbar. Whoosha!
And that's when Doom started to click. The more weapons and upgrades I unlocked, the more the combat opened up. By the time the super shotgun found its way into my hands, I wasn't just surviving encounters anymore, I was looking forward to the next one. Around the same time I was getting more comfortable with the game, something else was happening that I didn't really expect. I started seeing a completely new group of people show up in chat specifically because I was playing Doom. They weren't just there for one stream either. They kept coming back because they wanted to watch somebody experience this game for the first time. I'd be locked into the game for 5 or 10 minutes just ripping through demons, and then I'd look over at the chat and there'd be an entire conversation happening about the lore, the music, Doom Eternal, or some random piece of Doom history that I had absolutely no idea about. And that's when I started realizing just how passionate this community was. The music was a huge part of that too. Almost every level, one particular person in chat would tell me that the song playing was one of their favorites from the soundtrack. It became a running joke because he'd say it so often that I started to understand that maybe he had a point. The soundtrack is so consistently good that picking a single favorite song might actually be impossible. And that's something I don't think I fully appreciated before playing Doom. The music isn't just sitting underneath the gameplay, it's part of the experience. The aggressive guitars, the gunfire, the demons just getting absolutely destroyed, it all works together. Take that soundtrack away, and I genuinely don't think the game hits the same. The more I talk to people, the more I recognize Doom 2016 was really just the tip of the iceberg. There was this entire franchise, its history, its music, its lore, and a sequel that people clearly had a lot to say about. And that passion made me want to keep digging. There were still some moments where the game started to feel a little bit repetitive. The combat was still fun, and I always wanted to find a better way through each encounter, but after 2 or 3 arenas that followed the same basic formula, things could start to blend together. The variety wasn't always there, and sometimes it felt like the main objective was simply to finish another big fight.
I don't think I've faced a boss yet. This would be kind of like boss territory, right? This looks like a boss arena.
The repetition was starting to show, but by then, I was already invested.
We got obtained thrust boots. Ooh. Is that gonna let me like double jump or dash? That'd be sick. Coulda used some thrust boots!
By the time I reached the end, I had died 76 times. Which sounds like a lot, but I was playing on ultra violence for my first Doom game, so I'm counting it as a win that I kept it under 3 digits. Once the credits rolled, I wasn't really thinking about how many times I'd died, I was already wondering what happens next. I could see the ending coming from a mile away. The guy who's been helping you the entire game suddenly turning on you isn't exactly a new plot twist. But my first thought was, wait, does Eternal pick up from here? That's probably the biggest change I walked away with. I regret not discovering Doom sooner, not because I missed out on one great game, but because I missed out on years of a franchise, its music, and the community that surrounds it. But the nice thing about being late is I still have a lot left to discover. Clearly, there's more Doom waiting for me, and after spending hours watching people get pumped up about these games, I'm truly excited to see what all the fuss is about. Old games to explore, new games being made, and a community that's more than happy to tell you why they love it. I may have been late to Doom, but I wasn't too late. And if there's a franchise you've been putting off because you think you missed the boat, don't be afraid to jump in. You might be surprised by what's waiting for you on the other side. Doom fans and new viewers alike, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please be sure to like the video if you enjoyed the content and subscribe for more in the future. I'll see you in the next one.